walk with it, Gabe.
What's up, fam? Welcome to another episode of the Sports Pub. I'm your host, Quick. I'm here with the usual suspects. Got my man, Gabe GLHas. What's up, Gabe? What's going on with you, baby?
What's going on, family? How everybody doing out there?
Everybody doing good, man. And we got Willie Thrill Brown. What's up, Thrill?
Hey, look, man. First of all, I'm Willie Brown, and this is Black Street. And you always introduce me first. Don't be introducing Gabe first. Not never again.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you like this. You ain't gonna let your ego mess this show up. I tell you that now. Last but not least, we got the young fella Napoleon Giff. What's up, Giff? What's going on with you, man?
What's good, man? What's good? This year moving along pretty fast.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we're gonna start this episode off with something I was watching. I don't know if you fellas watch this or not, but I like watching not ESPN. I'm sorry, HBO Real Sports with Brian Gumbel. So I was checking it out the other night, and because it's a new episode, and one of the topics was minority coaching hires and the lack of diversity with regard to NFL coaches being hired to be head coaches. And they spoke with several prominent Black coaches. They spoke with Mike Tomlin. They spoke with Marvin Lewis, who coached the Cincinnati Bengals for a while. And they spoke with a gentleman by the name of Ray Horton. Now, for those of you who don't know, Ray Horton was a defensive coordinator for a while in the NFL. He's been coaching for over 25 years. He was a player, but then he's been coaching for over 25 years. And something kind of struck me in the way he felt about the system, the way it's set up now. And you could tell he was genuinely hurt by the lack of opportunity that he's gotten to be an NFL head coach. So I wanted to ask you fellas, how do you feel about the lack of diversity when it comes to NFL head coaching hires?
Let you go first, Giff.
Yeah. Sure, we might want to let Giff in this one.
Yeah, no. Let's get this out the way early.
Hey, man, I feel like it's one of those things where it's a position where, the NFL, they talk about, meritocracy, as far as based off of what you do. But I mean, let's be real, most jobs people are hired for, it's who you know. What we always say, it ain't what you know, it's who you know. And a lot of times, I saw the interview too with Horton had when he was saying a lot of people would call him in for interviews or whatever. They'd be like, well, we just felt better about this person. This was the way that we want to go and everything. I just think it's one of those things of familiarity. Like people are going to hire somebody who they feel like they can relate to, who they have things in common with, and who they see themselves in. A couple years ago when the Panthers hired Matt Rule, that was one of the things that the owner said. He said when he met Matt Rule, he saw himself. He said Matt Rule even wore his suits like he did. He dressed like him. He did everything that he did. He said he could relate to that. So, I mean, you got to look at that aspect. And nepotism plays a big part too. Jim Trotter was talking about today that, 10 of the 32 head NFL coaches are all sons of NFL coaches. They're fathers of NFL coaches, or they're a brother of a former NFL coach. So it's one of those things, man, that people are going to put you in a position where you're going to succeed. But I don't think you could change the owner's heart, man. I really don't believe it's on the league per se, and I don't believe it's on the day. I think it's on each individual owner to try to hire somebody that's a minority candidate.
All right, let me say this. Where is Gifford? This is not the Gifford that we was looking for.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Where is
first of all, you can back that bullshit up. You just spewed and tell us what you really think.
No, man, I'm really saying, like, for real, like, man, this is a dead horse that we beat in every year, man. And there's really nothing that anybody can do, not even with the Rooney Rule, to make these owners hire somebody. Because they're gonna always hire somebody they can relate to. Like, it's just one of those things that they did the whole thing with getting the minority candidate from these owners, interviewing and say, hey, you have to interview, one minority candidate. But that already turned into a sham too, because they already have in mind who they want. So it's like, hey, we just got to bring a minority candidate in here, interview him. Cool, like the Eagles before they hired Doug Peterson. We'll bring Deuce Staley here and interview him. No, they weren't gonna hire Deuce Staley. So I mean, it's one of those things, man. I just feel like there's nothing that we can do or even the league can do to make these owners hire somebody that doesn't look like them or they can't relate to.
Well, that's where I want to come in, because you just said in your last statement, there's nothing we can do to make these owners. Until we start getting minority ownership, then we're always going to be running this circle.
Fact.
That's what it comes down to.
That's true.
That's what it comes down to.
You have to get at least one owner in that circle. That's where the problem is. I don't understand why everybody keeps harping on the coaching aspect, and there is no minority owners. Well, I'm not going to say minority. No African American owners in the NFL, but yet nobody ever mentions that.
And I think that comes in with the fact that you don't have a minority owner. And I'm gonna go a little Gifford on this. Now, most owners are going to bring somebody in that they can control, because we've talked about this before. There are organizations that are in the business of winning championships, and then there's organizations that are in the business of making money. Now, there's no way, and Giff, I'm just going to use your Cowboys as an example, because they are the primary example of an owner who will not bring in a strong personality or a strong coach, black, white, Hispanic, blue, green, if he don't feel like he can control them. So until we get minorities in there to give us that space, then we're gonna like you said, Gabe. We're gonna run. I mean, like you said, Giff, we're gonna run around in that same circle. The owners want people in there that, like you said, that they're comfortable with and that they can control.
But I got something to say about what Gabe said about the ownership aspect. Is now the ownership club, though, that's even more exclusive than the coaching is, because the owners get to approve who they think should have a franchise or not.
Right.
So, I mean, I understand what Gabe is saying. I understand what y'all saying about that, but I think that's an even tougher frontier to overcome than even the coaching thing.
But that's going to open up that door to that coaching. Once you get a minority owner in there that can tell these other owners, look, I'm not part of your good old boy system. I'm not finna fall in line with some of this BS that y'all got going on. I'm trying to build my franchise the way I want to see it built. Once you get somebody in there, a strong-minded minority owner, then you're going to start seeing these other owners like, look, hey, this guy right here, he's doing things his way. Now, don't get me wrong, he's going to have to be successful. He's going to have to make money.
Yeah.
All right? But at the same time, you are going to keep running around in circles until you get an NFL minority African-American owner on the board, on the table.
Right.
Because when it comes to coaching, the thing about coaching, and this is my thing, and this is just my personal take on it, I don't want to see somebody go to a situation where they are destined to fail, or everything that they're going to do is going to be criticized. Because that's going to make me madder than anything. I want you to get jobs. I want you to get opportunities. But if I know you're going into a situation, and I take Charlie Strong, for example, going to Texas. I knew Charlie Strong was not going to last long in Texas. I don't care if Charlie Strong had went to the dang BCS championship. If he had another bad year after that, those folks in Texas were going to want his head and want him gone.
Well, that's what I was getting. That was one of the points I wanted to bring up too, because you look at, and I use this as an example, like somebody like what you just brought up, David Culley, who's the new head coach of the Houston Texans. Let him go 4-12 and see what happens. He won't make it a second year. Jim Caldwell went 9-7 in back-to-back years with the Detroit Lions that got fired because the Detroit Lions said 9-7 wasn't good enough, and then they hired bum-ass Matt Patricia. Okay, and I don't know if he won 16 games in the 3 years he was there. Okay.
Can I say this before you
go ahead?
Finish? I'm glad the Detroit Lions hired Matt Patricia. As a Chicago Bear fan.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
I hope they hire some more Matt Patricia.
I hope they bring him back. I hope they clone him and bring another one in. But quick, like you said, you ain't got to look no further than the college game at Notre Dame. My man went 10-2, and they ran him up out of there.
You talking about Ty Willingham?
Yeah, when Ty was there. Ty went 10-2 without his recruits. And they ran him up out of there. So, without hotepping, Gabe is absolutely right. I don't want to see people go into them tough situations. Now, everybody and their mama is jumping on Deion Sanders and pulling for him, and I hope he does well. But Deion's track record is that he loses interest and don't put in the work. That goes back to his time at the NFL Network. That goes to his other broadcasting position. That even goes back to when he opened up that school that he was coaching. Now, I hope he does well. Because I'm like Gabe. I don't want to see the press clippings and all that because they're gonna light him up if he do it again.
Well, that's a little bit different situation because he's at an HBCU. And I mean, I get what you're saying. But I just think that situation is a little bit different. But I don't. And don't get me wrong. I ain't gonna sit here and lie. I don't understand it. Another example: Steve Wilk. He was the head coach of the the Cardinals. Okay, and he was there a year and got canned. They didn't even give him a chance to try and succeed. They picked poorly in the draft where they drafted Josh Rosen, gave him a piss poor quarterback, had a bad draft. He had a poor season, and they let him go the next year. And then they bring in a college coach, okay, who had a losing record in college, okay, and now he's the head coach of the Cardinals. And again, he's doing a little bit better than I expected him to do. But they gave him an opportunity to succeed. They're giving him a lot longer leash than they gave Steve Wilk.
Well, missing on that quarterback will set you behind, won't it? You miss on that quarterback, boy.
The thing with Steve Wilkes, and I got to give Arizona credit to this in this aspect. When you recognize that you made a mistake, regardless of who it is, they didn't let it linger. Steve Wilkes was not a head coach type material. Now,
so you're saying they Bernie Fife?
They nipped it in the bud.
Yeah, but it go back to what you said earlier, Gabe. They said, like you said earlier, you want to see brothers get jobs where they're set up to succeed. Okay, that was not a job, and again, but he was not set up to succeed in that job.
No, he was not. But at the same time, Arizona was not going to continue to allow him to dig himself a deeper hole because they realized, hey, this is not the guy we want leading our franchise. This is not the way we want to go with our draft. I have no problem with an owner saying, look, Cliff Kingsbury is an innovative offensive mind. I want him as my head coach.
He wasn't too innovative. At Texas Tech.
Hey, we all know the college game is different than the pro game.
Okay,
I'm saying is Mike Leach. Mike Leach never had a losing record at Texas Tech.
And you not getting past Oklahoma.
He couldn't keep them ball eligible. Mike Leach could do that. And you in the college game where you said you could be innovative. This dude had Pat Mahomes and did nothing with him. He had Baker Mayfield and did nothing with him.
Exactly. Tell him, Giff.
He did nothing. Go look at Mike Leach's record at Texas Tech. They went to a bowl game every year. Mike Leach never had a losing record at Texas Tech. So, I mean, yeah, he's doing good now. But when they hired him, I'm like, this don't make sense. Like, what
I'm saying is the owner in Arizona maybe saw Kingsbury fitting into his program, into his team better than what Texas Tech saw him fitting in. Like you said with Rule, sometimes it's just a fit. Because I didn't see that little midget out of Oklahoma having the success that he's having. So we all know sometimes it's just a fit that you feel. and maybe when they hired the brother at Arizona, he didn't fit. Because if I remember correctly, they hired him later. So I think they maybe had interviewed a few other people. Them people went on to other jobs. So he was just kind of somebody that, hey, let's go ahead and get this guy in.
One of the other things
they were never really comfortable with it.
One of the other things I think they need to do. Well, let me finish up on the Cardinal thing real quick. How many play? Are you saying Kingsbury has been successful? I mean, and again, at this point, I think it's a relative term. But he ain't been to the playoffs in 2 years. He's been a head coach there for 2 years. He ain't made the playoffs yet. Wilkes, I mean, they could have done that with Wilkes. But the other thing I think they need to do is they need to push back the times, like for instance, with the coaching hiring window. They need to push it to after the Super Bowl because Tampa Bay had 4 brothers that were coordinators on that staff. And I'm sure at least a couple of them would have made excellent head coaches. Okay, but they didn't have opportunity because teams want to get the coach in so they can go into the NFL draft and start bringing their own people in. But again, like I said, I just think something needs to be done. I think moving back the hiring date or the window when you start hiring coaches, I think they need to move that to after the Super Bowl.
I don't think that's gonna make a difference, Quick.
And it might not. It might not. You're absolutely right. It may not. But it still would give teams an opportunity to say, hey, we want to take a look at this guy, because obviously they're not going to talk to somebody who's preparing for the Super Bowl. So, like your man, Giff, what's his name? Offensive coordinator at Kansas City, Eric Bieniemy. For like 2 years, 2-3 years, his name's been brought up. Every year his name's brought up as potential head coach. And the only job that he even interviewed for, I think, was the Texans. And that's not a situation I'm sure he wanted to go into.
Not without Watson.
No, definitely not without Watson. But anyway, we're gonna move on. One story that came up that kind of sparked our interest in the pub a couple of weeks ago, and we kind of joked about it, was Fernando Tatis landing that huge deal. And the one thing about and I'm a baseball guy by heart. I love baseball. I've been a baseball fan my whole life. One of the things I didn't know though is Fernando Tatis hadn't even been in the league that long, and they gave him some outrageous contract, a 14-year, $384 million contract with the Padres. Now I'm happy for him. And that's a hell of a lot of money. That generational wealth you're talking about right there. But I joked in the pub. I'm like, I'm teaching my son how to play baseball, man. Forget this football shit. I mean, if you throwing out contracts like that. So, Gabe, what are your thoughts on these baseball contracts, man?
Well, it's funny you mentioned of Tatis because I was looking at his stat line. All right, this cat is 22 years old. All right. He came in the league. He finished 4th in the MVP voting last year. Now, granted, the season got cut short. All right. He had 17 home runs and only 45 in RBI. In the year before that, he had 22 home runs in just 84 games. So the potential is there. But him being a shortstop, being a position player, only being 22 years, they gave this cat a 14-year deal. All right. The only deals that are better than his is Mike Trout and Mookie Betts
and Bobby Bonilla.
That's another thing that's clear.
Hey,
and Bobby Bo.
Now, when you look at Bobby Bonilla's deal, the length of the deal and the guarantee of the deal is what makes his deal great. But when he signed that deal, it was $29 million over 25 years.
Right.
That's trash. That's a trash deal.
It is.
But he had that kicker in.
He's
got that kicker in it.
Yeah. He is guaranteed that amount of money. That guarantee is what made his deal better than what it really was because we know he's not going to play the length of that contract. So he gets money every June.
June
$1
1st,
million.
Bobby
June
Bow
1st.
Day. Bobby Bow Day.
Yep.
But for him to continue to play, if he had continued to play, that would have been a trash deal.
Oh, absolutely.
29 over 25 years. That's crazy. But my thing is, why are we not pushing our kids toward baseball?
So
why is there a lack in the urban community where we know these baseball contracts are just skyrocketing? It's guaranteed money. All right. You know, the longevity is there. You know, the risk of a career-ending injury is less in baseball.
yeah.
What is it that turns it off? And I'm speaking from experience because my son played all three sports: basketball, baseball, and football. When he got to high school, he continued to play all three up until his junior year. Then he said, I want to focus on football, but he still continued to play basketball. Baseball was the odd man out. And to me, baseball was his best sport.
So I'll
Well,
say
let me answer that from my perspective, because I played
Okay.
baseball. I played baseball growing up, and that was my favorite sport. I played all three, but probably my best sport was baseball. Okay. And I played competitive softball and base teams and all that stuff all up until several years ago. But the one thing about baseball is, especially, and I'm just going to use it from the perspective of, let's say, kids growing up in the hood. Okay, what's the cheapest sport to play? Basketball. Okay, it's the cheapest sport to play. Okay, with baseball, it's probably the most expensive sport to play, because you got to buy bats, you got to buy gloves, you got to buy bat bags, you have to play, play in these tournaments that cost a lot of money to participate in. And I think a lot of families can't afford for kids to play those sports. The other thing I think is, it's just not as popular in the urban communities as basketball or football. I mean, I think that because you watch ESPN and all the highlights you see is, people scoring touchdowns or people dunking or people, things like that. And so that I think that, and also basketball is a sport, you can just take your ball gun out to the park and play. Okay, you ain't got to, baseball, you got to have eight other dudes on the field with you on one side of the diamond. Okay, and it's just a more expensive sport to play, so I think that plays a role in it. But I think, I'm with you when I think that we should really be pushing our kids towards baseball because of what you mentioned. Less chance of a catastrophic injury. More, and baseball has probably the strongest union out of all these sports, because NBA has guaranteed contracts, but I think baseball has the strongest, most powerful union out of all the sports, and so it's just set up that way.
I agree with what you're saying, Quick, and I also think that baseball it's a slower paced game, and a lot of these kids, like you said, Gabe, just don't have that attention span that they used to have back in the day. It's a game of anticipation. A baseball game take you upwards of 3 hours, and it's slow paced. You bringing in pitches in and out. So it's like you said, man. It's basketball. It's faster paced. It's more popular. They see it all day, every day. They're watching it. And basketball players got more personality. They're seeing more of that. Baseball players is a little stuffy, and you gonna respect them unwritten rules in baseball. You don't have it doesn't have a lot of pizzazz. Not a lot of showmanship in baseball. So I think that's what's turning the kids off. Now, Junior loves baseball, and I'm gonna support that as long as we can go baseball, and he loves soccer. So have at it, brother, because you can play that for a long time, and You're not gonna work. And like you said, the injury rate is low. What a lot of people don't know is, Ken Griffey Jr. was an all-state wide receiver.
Yeah.
Wanted to go to Iowa to play football. Pop was like, you can go to the NFL and play for 10 years and make $2 million a year, or you can go play professional baseball for 20 years and make $5 million a year. Apples and oranges. Easy arithmetic.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't understand why we in the community don't put more into these kids playing baseball. I know you mentioned quick the amount of money that goes into it, but you got enough revenue or enough resources in your community to get some of these kids what they need to continue to play this game. I mean, if we throwing money out there, there's enough cats out there that can build parks, can provide equipment. It's out there, but it's just like what Thrill said. It's not the fun sport to play. It's not that fast pace up and down. I can get in your face and taunt and do all that. It's more of a gentleman's game. Now you got a little bit going on now, where you got some personalities coming out, but I still want to see these kids because of these contracts that are coming out. And this money is there. It's going in their pocket. Like we said about Bobby Bonilla, he getting his money years after the fact that he has not picked up a baseball or played baseball on a major league field in years.
Gabe, did your son ever? I know you say he stopped playing his junior year. Did he ever tell you why? Like, did he lose interest, or he just felt like he had more time to do more other things?
Well, he wanted to focus on his speed because he was getting some college looks in football, and so he said, "All right, I want to go work out with the track team."
Okay.
So track and baseball go at the same time.
Gotcha.
So that was his reasoning behind it. But I always told him, even when he was in middle school, I said, "Look, when you get to high school, it's going to be hard to do all three and maintain your GPA. So I don't care which one you cut, but I let him know. I'm like, hey, that baseball thing, I'm gonna really have a hard time if you let that go." But he came to me. He said it's what he wanted to do. At that time, he was getting some looks. So I said, okay. I caved in on that. I should have stood firm, and said, hey, he's slapping that ball. Because he was very versatile. He could play to the infield, third or first, because of his size, and he had a strong arm because he did some relief pitching as well. So he had a strong arm. He was in center field, left field. So it was more options. And we all know you can go into the farm system of a major league baseball team and still make a good living and never even reach the pros.
Yeah, and make good money.
Good, 6 figures playing AAA ball.
And let me ask y'all this: do y'all know what Mike Trout looked like?
I do, yeah. I know what he look like.
I don't know what that dude looked like. That dude could walk past me on the street. I wouldn't know who he was.
So you don't watch no baseball.
Baseball, then.
You don't watch no baseball.
This is my point, right? I really feel like Major League don't really promote their players like they used to. Because I was a kid. Y'all got to remember, I was a kid. I came along like after the strike had happened. Was it 94? They had that big strike? Something like that?
94. Yeah, 94.
And I remember they had a full-on campaign with Ken Griffey Jr., all these dudes on the commercial with their hat to the back and they bopping it everything. And they did everything they could to get kids interested in it again. I don't really see them trying to do that no more. Like, I really don't see them trying to go on a full-on campaign of getting kids interested. Because,
Ken Griffey could swing that bat, boy. Good Lord.
Hey, one of my favorites. But they ain't, but I just feel like Major League ain't putting forth the foot to market. Because, like, one thing they was talking about was the fact that if you look online, like Major League Baseball got it set up where they can't get on, you can't just get online and tweet out like a game, like as far as like a highlight. That NBA, like when Anthony Edwards killed that dude the other night, as soon as you get on the internet, you can see it.
Yeah.
You can't do that with Major League. Like they are literally shutting themselves out a whole media device that they could use to market their sport because they got it set up where we're gonna get paid for this company to market our game this way. And you miss not on people. Because the kids on all the social media platforms.
Well, one of the things they are doing, and I see a lot, especially during the baseball season, I see them come out the commercials and they got the little slogan, let the kids play. So they try to they're trying to make the game more appealing and more fun for the younger folks. You know, like now, before the bat flip was just taboo. You just didn't do that. And now, you see people bat flipping all the time.
I love the bat flip. That's my favorite.
They're doing the bat flips after home runs and all that stuff. So I think they're trying to I think that complaint or that concern was raised, and they're trying to move the sport a little bit more towards the inner city and get more kids involved than it has been. But you also got to keep this in mind too. With the exception of basketball, because like football don't really have much of an international presence. That's more of a sport for this country, but it's the biggest sport we got, NFL. I think we agree on that. But with the baseball, you got players from all over the world that are playing, in the major leagues. Basketball has become more of an international sport too. But again, I just think that, and I think Thrill brought it up, it is a slower paced game. I love baseball. I love playing it. I love playing when I was playing competitive softball. I loved it. I can't watch it on TV though because it kills me. I just can't do it. I can't do it. It's just boring as hell, and I can't do it. I might catch a game or two in the playoffs or the World Series, but it's just a boring game. So I think that's got a lot to do with it too. But yeah, I think you're right, Giff. I think the Major League Baseball needs to do a better job of marketing the sport. Okay, because I think again they're trying to right now, but I don't think that is really. They're not doing. I mean, they can do a better job of doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a NASCAR dude, but I know what Waldrop looks like. Like I'm not in the least.
I
don't know what Mike Trout looks like.
I don't know what he looked like either.
I don't know what Mike Trout looked like. Like if Mike Trout walked at me, slapped me in the back of the head, who am I? I wouldn't know.
Well, I guarantee you, we'd have to find out if he walked up and slapped me in the back of the head. Yeah. I need to know who you is ASAP, partner.
Because don't he play with the Angels?
Yeah, he played with the Angels.
Even worse. Ain't nobody paying attention to them.
Now I used to go to I went to a few Giants games when he was out in California and had a ball. It's a beautiful stadium, and I enjoy it if I'm at the stadium.
Right. I've been to games too. If I'm at the stadium, it's a fun experience. But again, I can't watch it on TV. I just can't watch it on TV, man. Can't do it.
I'd rather go to a Major League Baseball game than to go to an NFL game or an NBA game. I've been to all three.
Let me tell you something, man.
Major League Baseball is by far the better experience.
Let me tell you something, man. To piggyback on what you just said, Gabe, I've been to Major League game before. I've been to an NFL game before, and I've been to an NBA game before. I took my son like last year to a Wizards game. Now, again, maybe it's because of sorry ass Wizards, but man, I couldn't stand it. I could not stand it. And I had more fun at a Major League Baseball game than I had at an NBA game because the fan experience is just, to me, is a lot different.
I had the most fun at a football game, man. We used to go to them Raider games. I used to have a ball, boy.
That's because you like to talk trash.
Well, yes, I didn't like. I mean, I didn't have a problem going to the NFL games, but the only problem I had was that's not a place I want to take my kids because of the language and all that stuff that goes on in the stands. Yeah. People fight. People were drunk and fighting when I went, and I'm like, that's not some place I want to take my kids. Now, baseball game. Me and my family and I went. This has been a few years back. Went to an Orioles game, and that was when the Orioles sucked, and I think they played the Royals, and it was a bad baseball game. Don't get me wrong, but we had so much fun at the game because the fan experience was so much better. Now if I'm by myself and I go, I might enjoy an NBA or NFL game, but I just think that like Gabe said, the fan experience is a little bit different going to a Major League Baseball game than it is going to the other sport.
Damn, Giff done locked up on him.
Again.
Damn, he was going good, boy. We had his ass for about 40 minutes.
This is a public announcement. Folks out there that listen religiously to our podcast and our webcast, I want to ask you for a favor. Can you please donate to the Gifford Wi-Fi.
So I will be putting up forward a GoFund Gifford account so we can get his ass some decent Wi-Fi and get that goddamn hamster that's running on that wheel to power his Wi-Fi. Get that goddamn hamster a break.
Yeah, and I tell you right now, we'll start a telethon if we need to, we'll get him some loot to get him in here.
Not a Jerry Lewis telethon.
Hell yeah! Hey, I got a tux. I wear that mug. Hey, guys, we got people on the telephones now. Maybe you can only give $5. Maybe you can give $10. Every dollar helps. Every dollar, everything you give helps. To get Giff's ass off this cheap ass internet. That goddamn hamster is smoking right now because he's working so damn hard.
Man, I can't wait till he get to San Antonio.
Please help Gifford.
Yeah,
Won't you give for Gifford? Won't you give?
I mean, and it go to a good cause. Yeah, I mean, come on, man.
Hey, we're not gonna waste this money. It's going to a good cause. Please please pay for the Gifford Foundation for some more Wi-Fi.
Yeah, we go.
If all you can give is $1, and you get a friend to give $1, and that friend gives $1, and then maybe another friend gives $1, we can get Gifford some goddamn Wi-Fi. Please help. Won't you give? Won't you give? Won't you give for Gifford?
Give for Gifford. Give for Gifford. That's a new slogan.
Give for Gifford.
Give for Gifford. That's what we're doing. Won't you give? Give for Gifford.
Because you know what?
Please,
we love this brother, and we also tired of people getting our vertigo from watching his damn.
And we need him. Yeah. And we need. We want Gifford in because we value his opinion and what he brings to the show. So please give for Gifford. Won't you give? Come on and give for Gifford.
You good, Giff?
Oh,
I'm good, man. One of my kids cut the internet off.
Oh my God, boy! That's
They ain't supposed to be touching switches anyway in the house.
Oh my God, boy, y'all ain't got no sense, boy. God,
That's your
Hey, Giff, it's something I wanted to ask you, man. You were a little heated about a week ago in the pub about this whole Cam Newton thing, man, with that kid, man. You good now?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Why were you so heated, man?
All right, man, this is my thing, right? As a kid that grew up, if I ran across, and maybe because it's where I'm from a little town in South Georgia, maybe about 15,000 people. So I have never met many like famous people like in my life, you know. Mm-hmm. You know, the first athlete I remember seeing as a kid was Dominique Wilkins at Leonard Square Mall in Atlanta. And I ain't never seen a dude 6'8" before, but that dude was 6'8". But I would never in my life run up on somebody and be like, hey, man, you sorry, you trash. Like, first of all, if you call yourself an athlete, because that's what he's supposed to be, a football player, I could never see myself calling a professional athlete trash. Like somebody who made it to like the highest level of their profession, I'm going to call this man trash. And you at his camp?
We do it every day at the pub.
Hey man, that's different.
He sound like Red. He sound like Red.
That was different.
Oh, that was different.
No, what I'm saying is like, as a child, you're at this man's camp. His name is on the banner when you walk through the door. Like you are at his camp, and you gonna call him trash?
Yeah, that was.
You gonna call him trash?
Crazy. That was crazy.
I really believe that social media thing getting these kids' head, man.
Giff, well, first of all, Giff, it's like you said, man. You know, I've never met your father or your mother, but you speak very highly of them. I've spent time with you and your family, so I know what stock you come from. I know how you raise your girls. I've spent time, had dinner with you and Misha. You wasn't raised like that. If your daddy would have seen that video, Pastor would have lost his religion on you. And that's just, that's just, hey, right. And that's just how you was brought up. Now, my daddy was 5'10", maybe about 160. but I didn't want that smoke at all.
No.
At all. I didn't want them problems, you know. So, and I think that social media got a lot to do with it, like you said too. You know, he knew he was gonna get his likes up, and it's done went viral and everything. But like we say in the pub, hey, this shit didn't go how you thought it was gonna go, did it? Look different now. Hey, that water a little hotter than you thought it was gonna be, huh? Now y'all know that I'm not a big Cam fan, but he handled that very well. He handled that very well. Like say, hey, where your daddy at? I need to holler at him. Where your daddy at? You know. Now, Gabe. Now, what you do if Isaiah had a went viral over some stuff like that?
First of all, that ain't gonna happen with my child. I'm telling you right now. My child has already been briefed before we leave the house. Don't get out here and embarrass me. in no shape, form, or fashion.
All right? Negro spiritual.
Right.
Don't get out here and embarrass me out here in front of these folks. Now listen, what happened between Cam and that kid is a prime example of entitlement. And that's what a lot of these kids are experiencing today. They're experiencing this feeling or this feel of I'm entitled to say what I want to say. And we as adults have let this stuff go on.
Good catch.
I'll say
we let it go on. We let it go on way too long.
We didn't Barney Fife it. We didn't. We didn't. We let it go on way too long because we're afraid of Karen might call the police on us if we discipline our child in public, or somebody might look at me differently. You know, I might lose some hours on my job because it done got viral or whatnot. But that dude should have been checked before he left the house. And even if he got out the house and made these comments and made that foolish video, that boy's parents should be having a foot removed out his backside. They should be in surgery the next day. Now, from my understanding, the kid has come back. He's apologized, but his only reason he's apologizing is, from what I hear, is that he's already lost a couple of college offers. So these kids need to realize stupid decisions have stupid consequences.
Yep.
Play a stupid game, get a stupid prize.
Yep.
You out here fishing for these likes, and you're gonna catch something you don't want to catch.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a couple of years ago, and again, my son is younger than this kid, but for a couple of years, my son, every year I took him to the Torrey Smith camp. Mm-hmm. and like the last year he went, he loved Torrey Smith, because Torrey's from the area where I live at, and so he's a hero around here. And again, he played for our favorite team. And so my son really looked up to him, and they took a picture together and everything. And he was just in awe of him. And he listened to everything he said. He soaked it up and all that. And I think that kid, he really missed an opportunity, because you get somebody like Cam Newton. And again, think what you want to think about him, as far as his personality and how he carries himself. But that dude is an MVP. Okay. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. He took his team to the Super Bowl. And again, I heard something on ESPN the other day, and I 100% agree with it. Jalen Rose said it. Because everybody wants to say that kid should have respected Cam because he was an MVP, because he had taken his team to a Super Bowl, because he had won the Heisman Trophy. No, you respect him because he's a grown man, because he's an adult, and he's taking the time out of his day to try to teach you something. It's got nothing to do with your accolades. It's got nothing to do with your accomplishments. It has everything to do with the fact that you're an adult, you're a child, he's an adult. You respect that man, and you try to soak up as much knowledge as you can from him and take and receive what he's trying to give you. But no, that kid was more interested in likes and trying to be the class clown, so to speak. And that wasn't cool. And I agree with y'all. Parents should have had a conversation with him before he walked out that door. Boy,
like my daddy said. Like my daddy said, you went to Cam's camp and you went out there showing your ass, huh? Zero tolerance.
Yeah.
Barney Fife it. Got to Barney Fife it.
And my question would be, would that kid have issued an apology had he not lost some of those offers?
Nah.
Probably not.
Nah.
Probably not.
Nah, because he was too adamant and he was too into it. You could tell how much he was enjoying the attention he was getting from it. Yeah, man, that whole thing just set wrong with me.
Yeah, it did. It set wrong with me too. And I agree with you, Thrill. I like the way Cam handled it. Some people were a little bothered by the fact that Cam proclaimed that he was rich.
He didn't proclaim
with it.
Cam is rich.
No, I know he is. I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, he didn't lie to that little bastard.
Especially doing it in that home with his people.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with what he said.
Yeah.
I thought he handled it. I thought he handled it well. He handled it right. He said, I want to talk to your daddy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not having this conversation with a child. I want to talk to your father.
Right.
And that's the way he should have handled it.
Right.
Yeah.
You're a free agent.
Yeah. I'm rich.
I mean, money coming.
I'm rich. Right. I'm rich.
Yeah.
My paper long.
Yeah.
And to make sure that check cleared that you paid to come sit here at my camp.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So Thrill, one of the things that that we know that you love is MMA. And I have to be honest, I occasionally I'll watch an MMA fight, but I'm not real big into it. So you had something you wanted to discuss regarding MMA.
All right. Well, I'll give you a little background on it. My daughter's best friend, who ended up becoming one of my best friends, was a jiu-jitsu instructor in Yakota. So, as me and him got closer, I started checking it out, hanging out more with him and everything. And we just started watching it. And my daughter took it for a couple years, So it's just something that I started to enjoy. Now, I had Giff over a couple times and we watched a couple fights, So I know Gabe can't stand it, but we'll get into that later. But so what happened last week was Derek Lewis knocked his brother slap out. Mr. Blaze knocked him out. He was out before he hit the mat. But the ref, Herb Dean, was in bad position and didn't get over to Lewis to pull him off before he could stop the fight. And Lewis fired off 2 unanswered haymakers.
Damn.
Yeah, so everybody was all on Lewis and everything. But, when you're in that situation, like Lewis said, it's hard to turn that off. And he's seen people, who was just knocked out for, just a flash knockout and got right back up. So my question was, in that situation, and I put it in the pub, I hope y'all got a chance to take a peek at it. Do y'all think he was wrong for still firing them two haymakers on him?
No,
I don't think No, just like in football, they say play to the whistle.
Right.
Hey, you fight till the referee pull you off.
So I don't understand, Gabe. How can you be such a big boxing fan but find no interest in MMA?
I just never been really a fan of it. We talked about this earlier this week. Boxing. We started talking about the boxing aspect a little bit earlier tonight. During the mid '80s, watching some of the greats, the middleweights and the heavyweights in the mid '80s, I became a fan of it. It seems like to me back then it was more of a sport that you really had to. You couldn't just go out there and box. You had to really work on your craft. Mm-hmm. To me, MMA is something that, and I get it. I've seen guys put the work in now that it has gotten a little bit more mainstream, but when it first started out, it just seemed like a bunch of backyard brawl to me.
Oh, it was brutal. No rules. It was just whatever. Yeah.
It didn't seem like it was the sweet science of boxing.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So that initially turned me off to it, and I never really gravitated to it. Mm-hmm. Once I realized it's just not something I want to watch. I have watched some MMA fights. I've never bought an MMA fight, never paid for it, but I see the highlights on ESPN the morning after the fight, and you know I'll watch the highlights, but I'm just not a fan of it. I'd rather watch a good boxing match than an MMA. That's just me.
What's your thoughts on the Giff?
I like MMA, man. You never know who an MMA fighter. Did y'all see them 2 dudes, the Oklahoma football players that ran up on them dudes in the bathroom and got drugged across the floor? Now that's one thing I like about MMA.
Literally.
I get drugged across a pissy ass bathroom.
Like you said, Gifford, literally drug across that goddamn floor.
I mean, I got to do a little bit when I was deployed once. We got to do a little bit of it. And I'll just say, man, I've done boxing before. Like I trained boxing when I was a kid. That's just different, man. That's a full body workout. Everything hurt. Everything hurt when you get done. Everything hurt.
Yeah.
And it was something I had to come around to. When I met through it, that's why I came around to it.
I just think there was something different about a fight, like a heavyweight championship boxing match. It was just something different about it. The anticipation, the buzz that it created. I mean, like when Tyson was in his prime, and I go back even further than that, because I'm a huge, I was a huge Muhammad Ali fan. And again, it was just the buzz and the anticipation around the fight. And I just don't get that from MMA. I mean, because it seems like they fight every weekend.
They do.
I know, but I don't. It just seems like they fight every weekend. But like we mentioned earlier, during our little pre-production meeting or whatever, we were talking fights that, remember ABC Wide World of Sports. They had these marquee boxing matches, and it was just, and you made that was must see TV.
Yeah.
And then things changed obviously after Tyson became champ because it became more of a pay-per-view event. But even then, there was anticipation.
Hell, they should have been giving them fights away.
Yeah. Especially him knocking people out 30 seconds in the first round. Yeah. I mean, that was a waste of people's damn money with that shit. But all I'm saying is, that
Tell them how you feel, Giff.
that just seemed to be more anticipation, and it was more of a buzz surrounding boxing than it does MMA.
Yeah, the build up in boxing is definitely greater. All right, all the interviews, the weigh-in, the promos, the build up in boxing, especially when you got 2 marquee names, it just doesn't like it. I mean, it starts months out.
But we got so few marquee names in boxing now. And we talked about it earlier, man. You used to, Tyson, Holyfield,
Riddick Bowe,
Hagler, and man, used to see them cats 2, sometimes 3 times a year. And heavyweight champ fight once every 2 years now.
Yeah, that's true.
I will say boxing has definitely been on the decline as far as putting quality fights out, but that boxer, that fan in me always wants to see a good mano-a-mano boxing match.
Man, there's no reason that Joshua hasn't fought Fury yet, or that he didn't fight. What's my man's name that Fury just knocked out?
You talking about
Wilder?
There's no reason that the 3 of them haven't basically had a round robin. No reason at all.
Well,
they are actually losing money.
Nobody want to eat that egg.
Well, the problem with boxing is the problem with boxing is they don't have a governing body. They don't have a something that a structured governing body like MMA does. But I mean, it's like
too many champions in boxing.
It's too many, right? It's too many champions right now. Yeah. Now, when there was 3, you knew who your mandatory defense was after you finished fighting.
Yep.
In 6 months who you got to go see.
Yeah, but see, back in the day, back in like the 8, like Gabe said, back in the 80s and like that, y'all ass fought. Okay, Sugar Ray, you gotta fight Hearns. Okay, and they fought. Okay,
And that wasn't
now
no problem. That wasn't no problem.
no, it wasn't a problem.
And then after you see Hearns, I need you to go see Durant.
Yeah,
Then
exactly.
after you get done with that, I want you to go see Terry Norris.
But see, even the fighters that weren't champions put on entertaining fights back then.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
you mess around.
I ran Barkley.
Hey, that was supposed to be a tune-up fight.
Yeah.
Iran Barkley came in there and beat the hell out of Tommy Hearns.
Yeah, he did. He
That was supposed to be a tune-up fight. He was just supposed to go a few rounds.
Got tuned up. All right.
Tommy was in there after the third round. Which one of y'all signed this contract? How the hell am I in here with this problem? Who did this?
Hey, remember the Hearns Durant fight? Durant did not want to fight Hearns because he knew it was a bad matchup.
Too long.
And Hearns got his ass out of there in what, 2-3 rounds?
Yeah.
Nah.
But they fought, but you know what? They weren't scared. They fought each other.
Man, Durant fought everybody. Durant
he did.
fought Hagler. He fought Hearns. He fought Leonard. Man, Durant went to see fought Pryor. Fought Mayweather. Fought Mayweather's daddy.
Yeah.
He saw everybody. Hagler fought everybody. And I know y'all Sugar Ray fans, and you can't tell me Sugar Ray didn't duck Hagler for years.
Oh, he did. He did duck him. Absolutely. And I love Sugar Ray, but he ducked him.
Ducked him right into a Terry Norris ass whoop.
Yeah, he did.
Boy, Sugar was sitting in there asking again, which one of y'all got me in here with this young boy? Every time I look up, that goddamn jab is in my eye.
And that fight was on ABC.
Yes, sir.
Midday.
Yes, sir. He dropped Sugar 3 times that night, didn't he?
Yeah, but everybody knew. But everybody knew Sugar was washed at that point, man. Everybody knew.
Yeah, but you didn't know Terry was gonna do that to him.
Yeah, but I tell you what, probably the best fight, and I've seen a lot of good fights. The Hagler Hearns fight was probably from start to finish.
That's still.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
I'm gonna let Gabe tell the funniest story. I can't watch this fight the same because of this fool.
No.
Me and three will be laughing about that mother fight right there, boy. Because that goddamn Hagler, that mother was this close for that fight being over. It was
He
this
almost
close
stopped
for
it.
that fight
Yeah, he
being
almost
over.
stopped it.
That doctor came in that ring and said, hey, man, you take one more, because he was cut up. Hagler had been jabbing his butt. And so when they gave him that warning, Hagler came out in that next round. And boy, when I tell you, if you ever watch that round, that Hagler finally caught up with it. Hearns was like, man, I'm hitting him with everything. Hagler came out, he hit that fool, and Hearns said, I needed some space. I need a little room. So he ran across the other side of the ring. All he was trying to do was get his stuff together, because Hagler knew if I take one more of these shots, it's over.
Yeah, it's over.
Oh, Hagler came out, he was on it. He had him with a couple of shots. Hearns said, man, I need a little space, I need a little room. So he ran to the other side of the ring, trying to get a little space. Hey, watch his face when he turns around. When he turned around, Hagler was right there on him. He said, oh, man.
Hey, I swear to God, I had never said it. I had never thought it till Gabe said that. And I watched that fight. Man, Tommy ran to get that space. And, man, when he turned around to square up, Hagler was right there. Tommy said, God damn.
No.
Hagler chased that fool all the way to the other side of that ring. Tommy thought he had created all the room he needed to get his cobwebs cleared out. Man, he turned around into a 2P. Boy, me and Will, we watched that when we was in Korea. We was over there dying. I said, watch this. Watch this fool when he turned around. Watch his facial expression.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
Y'all go on YouTube and watch that facial expression. Y'all ain't never gonna watch that fight the same again. You gonna holler when Tommy turned around and Hagler right there.
I know he was on it.
Letting that leather go.
I know he was on it like a bum on a bologna sandwich.
God damn. God damn. Not a bologna.
Oh, Lord, man. But look here, man. It's great. It was great getting with you fellas again this week, man.
Man, yeah.
And I enjoy doing this every week, and want to thank everybody out there in in the pub and elsewhere that subscribe and watch our broadcast. We really appreciate it. Please keep supporting us. We love you guys. You can catch us on the YouTube channel, and we'll catch you guys again next week.
Hit that like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Good luck to Brother Harris tomorrow in the championship game.
Yes, sir.
He coaching.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, boy. We're going to get that championship.
Yes, sir. We want to hear about it. All right, Giff.
All right. Peace, man.
All right,